Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star Part 243 based on novel. So let's start. Inside Flame God territory, in the main palace surrounded by endless flames. That human Luo Feng has the power of a top-tier universe overlord. He killed Flourishing Light Horde leader with one attack. Not possible. Flame Emperor raged and roared, and his eyes were glinting with madness. He was innately proud, and he was proud of being cultivated by mountain-sitting guest. He looked down upon his older brother, as he was originally a slave of his teacher, and he had inferior potential and true treasures compared to him. He already craved to become an equal of mountain-sitting guest or even stronger. However, after Luo Feng showed up, mountain-sitting guest also devoted his time and energies to this third disciple, and he had even prepared a supreme true treasure star tower for Luo Feng. Flame Emperor longed for that supreme true treasure, but it was no use. He had been wary of that third brother, as he found him to be the biggest threat to him. 100,000 years. Flame Emperor growled. How is it possible for him to have the power of a top-tier universe overlord in only 100,000 years? How is it possible? It must be Teacher Mountain Sitting Guess. It's got to be because of his arrangements. Luo Feng isn't capable of accomplishing that all by himself. Teacher Mountain Sitting Guest favors third brother too much. He gave him the supreme true treasure, and now he helped him gain the power of a top-tier universe overlord after he's been undying for only 20,000 years. Flame Emperor's face twisted with fury. Just wait and see. Just wait and see, Teacher Mountain Sitting Guess. He'll never catch up with me. Even with your help. I'll always be his better. I'll be stronger even than you. The space around Flame Emperor cracked, and the eyes under his soul horn looked crazed and terrifying. The news was widely spread, and it shocked all the powers in the universe. Parachopper Knight from the bug race had been resurrected. He had a senior true treasure armor yet was still killed by Luo Feng. Luo Feng was the one who killed me, Parachopper Knight said. I had a senior true treasure armor, but one attack from him damaged more than half of my godly body, and 2 attacks killed me directly. That news was more shocking. A universe overlord wearing a senior true treasure armor being killed by 2 attacks was even more terrifying than Flourishing Light Horde leader being killed by 1. A senior true treasure? A universe overlord was killed even while wearing a senior true treasure? That's outrageous. He must be a top-tier universe overlord. What a coincidence. The Bug Race Alliance gave out the news right after the Northern Territory Alliance gave out the news. It's extremely difficult to resurrect a universe overlord. Parachopper Knight must have been revived after the news spread that Flourishing Light Horde leader was killed by Luo Feng. The Bug Race resurrected Parachopper Knight just to verify the news. Nobody expected Parachopper Knight to say something so shocking. The 2 pieces of news were spread in one day, and they took the universe by storm. Inside the universe owned by the automaton race. Countless threads were connecting the planets and stars, giving the universe the appearance of a gigantic net. A voice resounded in every corner in that universe. My children, it said, that human who's only been training for 100,000 years is so powerful that he can kill a universe overlord wearing a senior true treasure. Is that true? Father God, I've contacted the Thorn Ring Alliance, and they said it's true. I've done my research as well, and it is true. I've seen the footage of Parachopper Knight being killed. Father God, we can't leave Luo Feng alive. Father God. Automation race was a peculiar race, as all the members in the race were intelligent life forms, but there was a command for them to obey at their very core. They surrendered themselves completely to the greatest being in the automation race, a universe supreme being known as Father God. They would happily die if it was a command from their Father God, and there was an exceptional bond among the creatures within automaton race. Father God's voice was spread all across the universe, saying, it's only been 20,000 years since he became undying, and he has the power of a top-tier universe overlord now. He'll definitely be a threat to our race if we just let him roam free. My children, follow my order. Search for Luo Feng and kill him. We must kill him before he becomes a universe master. Yes. Yes, Father God. The automaton race, bug race, and demon race were all terrified. The human race, bug race, demon race, and automaton race lived nearby each other, and they had been fighting against each other for an eternity. There had been a myriad of feuds among them, and one great being after another was born in the course of war. They looked down upon prison race and the crystal race. Once a particular race of the 4 pinnacle races became stronger, other 3 races would often form an alliance without discussion. The other 3 races would take action if an exceptional genius was born, as they couldn't allow any one power among them to be visibly stronger. Of course, if a race suddenly stumbled and fell, it would be a pleasant surprise to the other 3 races. The responses to news of Luo Feng came as expected. He's been growing too fast. He'll be another primal chaos city leader if we let him roam free. We must kill him as soon as possible. Otherwise, he'll become so powerful that even Universe Supreme Masters aren't able to kill him. Kill him. Kill him before he becomes a Universe Master. Pass along my order. Every great being on the original stars should keep an eye on Luo Feng. Pass along my order. The automaton race, bug race, and demon race all made this a top priority. They all knew that if a supreme being was born within the race, like 9 Remoteness Master, although he wasn't technically a Universe Supreme Master, he could make all the pinnacle races desperate. Luo Feng had an inherited technique, clone. He could be reborn even if one of his godly bodies was killed. A powerful Universe Master with clone technique would be a nightmare to enemy races, and he would definitely become a pillar of his own race. We must kill him. The Northern Territory Alliance also wanted Luo Feng dead, but they felt relatively relieved. They knew that the automaton race, demon race, and bug race ought to be the anxious ones. As for the Ancestral God School, the Space Beast Alliance, the prison race, and the crystal race, they were looking forward to watching the fight among the 4 pinnacle races. That human Luo Feng is indeed incredible. If he can survive this and become a Universe Master, nobody will be able to hurt him. No one was more shocked than the human race. In the open-air bar in the virtual universe, most of the Universe Knights had gathered. Normally, there were only a few thousand of them, but today, more than 90% of the Universe Knights of the human race were here. Universe Knights of other races were also here. There were discussions everywhere. Is Luo Feng that incredible? He's improved too fast. Even Flame Emperor can't compare with him. Jealousy was to be expected in the face of such power, just as how Luo Feng had upset many Universe Knights when he'd moved to the mountainside of Thunder Island. However, Luo Feng had exceptional power now. He was so powerful that he could kill a Universe Overlord with one attack. That kind of power was awed by Universe Knights. It's a miracle. Legendary. It's a miracle within our race. Where's True Yang Knight? His Luo Feng's teacher. True Yang turned off his communications already. Perhaps too many Universe Knights are looking for him. Ganwu Universe Country Master was also laughing loudly. Other Universe Knights were all talking about Luo Feng. Ganwu Universe Country Master was a bit dazed, but he became happy instantly. After all, Luo Feng was close to him. He was the teacher of Luo Feng's son. Is Luo Feng's son your disciple? Haha, yes. Luo Feng has a son. Inside the God Country, the endless remote ocean was tumbling and expanding. Lots of creatures were being created, and they expanded the remote ocean. It's crazy. Luo Feng was sitting in the godly temple, soaked in golden light. He shook his head and smiled. He had known he couldn't hide the fact that he had killed all those Universe Knights and Universe Overlords. He knew that the news would be impossible to keep quiet once those great beings were resurrected. However, he hadn't expected everyone to be so angry about it. After talking with Primal Chaos City leader and True Yang Knight, he turned off the acceptance of the virtual universe. I'll keep practicing. Luo Feng closed his eyes and smiled. It was filled with hustle and bustle out there, but it was tranquil and peaceful in his God Country. The water in the endless remote ocean was flowing. All was a racket outside, but it was quiet in his God Country. Teleportation, hang, seal, Luo Feng whispered. He opened his eyes, and his godly power triggered law threads. 3 broken engraving pictures showed up in the sky, and they merged. A perfect engraving picture showed up. It was an engraving picture that looked like the 7th picture of the 9-universe primal chaos tablet. "I've finished the space law," Luo Feng said with a smile. Endless universe origin law arrived at the God country, and the remote ocean started to churn. Above the boundless remote ocean was a gigantic 5-colored whirlpool with a diameter of tens of billions of miles. It covered the sky above the remote ocean. Gold, wood, water, fire, and ground, all 5 laws were perfectly merged. At the center of the whirlpool was a space, and it was emanating endless force of space law origin. Unlimited godly power flooded out from the space and poured into the boundless remote ocean. It's incredible when the universe origin arrives. Luo Feng looked up and was amazed. Many beings became universe knights throughout history, and there was lots of footage thereof. Luo Feng had watched some footages of the breakthroughs of other great beings, and every time someone made a breakthrough, a 5-colored space whirlpool of space origin ocean would arrive. However, the 5-colored space whirlpools were generally small, with a diameter of around 60 miles. Yet the whirlpool above him had a diameter of tens of billions of miles. Endless godly power poured out. They dashed into the boundless remote ocean like a waterfall, while the remote ocean body kept absorbing the godly power to help him finish the transformation from an undying fighter to a universe knight. The scene I caused when I became undying was more incredible than many great beings becoming universe knights. Though the scene now is not as mysterious as those who become universe masters, it's still as powerful as supreme beings becoming universe masters. Luo Feng was thrilled. The scene during the breakthrough indicated one's power. The godly body would become 100 times stronger when someone graduated to a universe knight from an undying fighter. Normally, human beings' power would surge to 10 million times that of a sector lord from 100,000 times that of a sector lord. However, Luo Feng's boundless remote ocean and golden horned beast had both reached perfect life gene levels, and the godly power in their natural state was already 10,081 times. The golden horned beast and the boundless remote ocean could swallow immense amounts of power. Seize the moment. I must seize every minute and every second to swallow the godly power and transform my godly bodies. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. Unlimited godly power was pouring from the billion-mile portal. Absorb, absorb, absorb. The waves were tumbling in the boundless remote ocean. It was swallowed the waters of godly power voraciously, eager to trigger the transformation in his body. Generally, when someone without another body, like True Yang Knight, became a universe knight, the universe origin would arrive on top of the individual directly so that he could swallow the godly power more efficiently. As for those who had other bodies, like Luo Feng, the universe origin would arrive on top of the largest body with the most energy so that it could swallow godly power more efficiently. Luo Feng's original earthling body, golden horned beast body, and Mosha body were scattered across the universe. When he became a universe knight, the universe origin showed up above the boundless remote ocean, which could absorb godly power much more quickly than the golden horned beast body or the original earthling body. The universe always arrived at the best choice. The universe origin only stayed for a while. Only when someone became undying could they absorb as much energy as they wanted to transform their godly bodies. On the contrary, when becoming a universe knight or universe master, the time allotted for absorbing godly power was very short. This meant that the amount of power one was able to absorb depended on his strengths. After a short while, everything withered away. The boundless remote ocean turned peaceful again, but the godly power was being transformed. Luo Feng, golden horned beast body, and Mosha body were looking down. The other 3 bodies Luo Feng had were easily transformed, with their godly bodies becoming 100 times stronger. The remote ocean is too large, thought Luo Feng. Even though it tried to absorb the power as much as possible, only 12% of it was transformed. After almost 20,000 years, the boundless remote ocean had grown to a diameter of almost 12 billion miles. Though the remote ocean body absorbed an incredible amount of power, only 12% of it was transformed. When teacher True Yang became a universe knight, 92% of his godly power was transformed, Luo Feng murmured. Normally, 90% of the godly bodies of human great beings are transformed, and once in a while, that amount can reach 100%. As for the golden horned beasts from Space Beast Alliance, 50% can be transformed. Regardless, 50% of the golden horned beast's godly power was zillions of times greater than that of humans. And 12% of the boundless remote ocean's godly power was also zillions of times more than that of golden horned beasts. With this boundless remote ocean, I might be able to kill even a top-tier universe overlord if I perform I Am the Universe. Luo Feng was thrilled. It was difficult even for universe masters to kill top-tier universe overlords. It would be difficult for him as well, however, it would be more likely if he used I Am the Universe. Although he had never fought a universe master, he realized that he was not significantly weaker than universe masters. It is difficult for universe masters to kill top-tier universe overlords, he said. I'm 100 times stronger. If I meet universe masters, I'll definitely fight them. Luo Feng looked down at the boundless remote ocean and could feel the churning godly power in his body. A god country was the root of an undying fighter. As undying fighters became stronger, their god countries would also morph. Luo Feng had reached perfect life gene level when he was only a sector lord, and the diameter of his internal world reached 600 billion miles, which was why his god country was stronger than that of many universe knights when he had just become undying. After 20,000 years, the boundless remote ocean kept expanding. The god country also gradually became stronger, but it was not a sharp change. At the moment when Luo Feng became a universe knight, however, his god country was fundamentally changed. The sky and land trembled. The god country was gradually transformed while absorbing the godly power from the boundless remote ocean. The remote ocean was letting out his godly power slowly to make sure it could recover it. Of course, the absolute amount of godly power let out was already terrifying based on the volume of the remote ocean. It's stable, said Luo Feng. I have better control. He looked up at the boundless sky and land, and it was like watching a shack turn into a mansion. The god country before could have been easily damaged or even destroyed if a universe master had tried, but his god country now might not even be damaged even if a universe master gave all his efforts to the task. After 3 days, everything went back to normal. In the sky above the boundless remote ocean, a towering temple was surrounded by dark space, emanating endless space law power. Luo Feng stood in front of the temple and looked off into the distance. A being flew toward him. Remote ocean body is here, Luo Feng thought. After his god country had finished being reconstructed, he had summoned back remote ocean body, who had been busy guarding Earth. Remote ocean body immediately dismantled, and godly power merged with the boundless remote ocean. His armor and blade floated in the sky. After a short while, another remote ocean body was created using Luo Feng's inherited technique creation. The quality of the godly power of the newly created remote ocean body could rival that of Lord of Fan Nuo Fortress, a universe knight who was a special life form with a life gene level of 1000 time. Remote ocean body just became 100 times stronger, Luo Feng thought. I bet he can suppress even the most powerful world tree. He's adequate to guard Earth. And I can get back there in time if he encounters something tricky. Haha. 4 bodies, said Luo Feng. My boundless remote ocean is the fountain which provides unlimited godly power. Star Tower, Force Armor, and Beast God Armor. All of them are exceptional true treasures, and my godly body has reached a perfect status for universe knights. With my strong god country, I don't need to be afraid of universe masters. I've successfully built my foundation. I won't need to fear anything after I get Star Tower. Luo Feng's eyes glinted ferociously. It was so forceful that the entire god country trembled. He hadn't hidden his identity when he killed Parachopper Knight and Flourishing Light Horde leader, as he'd known that it was almost time for him to show his true power to the entire universe. I, Luo Feng, won't need to be afraid anyone after becoming a universe knight. I've built my foundation. Other races, it's too late for you to kill me now. Luo Feng turned around and disappeared into his god country. Inside a spaceship traveling to the primal universe. Mr. Luo Feng. When Luo Feng entered the spaceship, that Emperor-level captain was startled. He was responsible for transportation between the virtual universe headquarters and the primal universe, so he knew that the peerless genius Luo Feng had become a mighty, supreme being who was much more powerful than ordinary universe knights. There were many beings of other races who were dying to kill him. Don't tell anyone about Mr. Luo Feng, be mindful of spies. This was an order from the seniors of the human race, and the captain knew of it. Leave, said Luo Feng. I don't need servants. Yes, Mr. Luo Feng. The captain left the room and gave the order. Time to go. Some undying fighters and sector lords who wanted to go to the primal universe grew anxious. We haven't boarded yet. Wait for us. Why did the spaceship leave before we board? The captain said, tell the head office that this spaceship will transfer Luo Feng to the primal universe. Ask them to arrange another spaceship for those undying fighters and sector lords. Mr. Luo Feng is exceptional, and nobody is allowed to disclose information about seeing him. As for those undying fighters and sector lords, it's better for them not to see Mr. Luo Feng. Yes, sir. The crew immediately went to report to the head office. The spaceship arrived at Primal Chaos City in a short while. The captain and the crew were greeting Luo Feng. He walked out and looked down on Primal Chaos City, which was not different from the last time he came here. Luo Feng took a step and went to Primal Chaos City. Primal Chaos City was the human race's land for cultivation. One look at those ancient buildings, and there would usually be human great beings sitting cross-legged on the rooftops of the cultivation residences. The atmosphere was always filled with the strong aura of cultivation. Universe level. Luo Feng swooped down from a high altitude and saw the human great beings on the rooftops of the cultivation residences. There were some who had only reached the universe level. This bit of power, and they are allowed into Primal Chaos City? Could they be participants from the previous War of Talents? Some of the cultivators who were looking up at the sky to study the explicit display of secret engravings of universe laws caught sight of Luo Feng and recognized him in an instant. Look, it's Sir Luo Feng. It's Sir Luo Feng. Having gained fame within such a short time, Luo Feng might have been the most sensational figure among the human race in the past 100,000 years. It was similar to how many of these cultivators did not know of the ancient Heaven Erosion Palace Master and some others. If, trillions of years ago, these individuals had died or been annihilated, and every piece of information pertaining to Luo Feng had been set to extremely high-level access rights, then many would naturally not know of Luo Feng. At best, they might have very limited information about him. But as of now, Luo Feng was the most prominent one. Is that Sir Luo Feng from the legendary Wall of Talents that took place 110,000 years ago? Yes, that's Sir Luo Feng. During the War of Talents that took place 110,000 years ago, there were 3 rare geniuses, of which Bolan and Rong Jun achieved breakthroughs to become undying beings, and they are now Emperor. Sir Luo Feng was said to have reached the levels of Sector Lord and Universe Knight way earlier than the others. So impressive. I heard that even Universe Knights have been annihilated by Sir Luo Feng. Those young fellows who were only at the universe level were getting emotional. The way they looked at Luo Feng was even more awe-filled than how Luo Feng and his peers had looked at Sir Nineblade back then. After all, Luo Feng had emerged onto the scene only 110,000 years ago during the War of Talents. Plus, his fame and the various rumors about him were much more than those of Sir Nineblade. But these undying, sector lords, domain masters, and universe-level beings were all pretty low on the social scale, so the stories about Luo Feng killing some universe overlords were unknown to them. If they ever caught wind of that news, they would have been rendered speechless. Such high-level information would only be known by the Universe Knights. In addition, some of the undying emperors who were usually quite well informed might have caught wind of it. Generations of participants in the War of Talents are continually emerging. The number of great beings among the humans is increasing as well. Luo Feng looked down and revealed a trace of a smile. Then with a great leap forward, he speedily made his way to City Leader Palace. Luo Feng entered the City Leader Palace and connected to the virtual universe with his conscious mind. Because news about the closing of the virtual universe had been disseminated previously, this was the first time he had made a connection after the opening of the virtual universe. The moment he connected, Virtual Helper Barbata, the subsidiary intelligence helper, promptly informed Luo Feng, 882,901 message, 9,010 telephone request. 106 important messages. 11 important telephone requests. So much mail. Luo Feng was walking in the city leader palace while scanning through his mail with his consciousness. He opened the message, and with his consciousness revolving rapidly, he finished looking through all his mail within only a short time. Other than Primal Chaos City Leader, the other 3 Universe Masters have contacted me too, especially Huge Axe Creator. He actually contacted me. Luo Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. The 3 Universe Masters and Huge Axe Creator had each sent a mail message to him, and the messages were the same, a simple congratulatory mail. The messages looked simple, but when it came to their status, these were from Universe Masters and a Universe Supreme Being. To receive messages from them was simply extraordinary. I should write a letter to thank them. Without further ado, Luo Feng replied to the 3 Universe Masters and Huge Axe Creator with a thank you letter. After settling all these, Luo Feng put up a request to contribute a true treasure to his race. To enter that side palace of City Leader Palace, the only way was to put up such an application. The bronze doors opened slowly, and Luo Feng stepped in. Thereafter, the doors closed again. Let's begin. Luo Feng waved. At that moment, true treasures started appearing one after the other and floated about in midair. Then they drifted over to the stone plate in the center of the hall of the palace. Countless green threads of light were rising and moved to envelop the treasures in a winding manner. These true treasures were obtained by Luo Feng through his numerous battles, and in total, there was a total of 4 senior true treasures. These 4 senior true treasures will all be contributed, but I doubt they are enough. Luo Feng brooded over his contribution. Previously, when Luo Feng was thrown into the whirlpool by Craftsman Master and ended up in the land of Extremis, he had killed Demon Sword Knight and obtained 2 true treasures, of which one was a senior true treasure. And when he came back from the Beast God Sector and entered the original star for close to a year, he had killed several Universe Overlords and a large number of Universe Knights, thus obtaining a total of 4 senior true treasure. Killing Tianyang Knight had also been very rewarding. Not only had he gained the Flowing Light Wings and Disambiguation Mirror Stone, but he also obtained an Attack Series True Treasures, Senior True Treasure Battle Armor, and an ordinary Domain Type True Treasure. However, his remote ocean body had taken 3 of the senior true treasures with him, so there were only 5 senior true treasures, including the 8 shuttles, which Luo Feng did not require at that moment. Keeping one of these 5 senior true treasures, the true treasure armor, Luo Feng contributed the other 4 to his race. Contributing 4 senior true treasures equaled only 52.1 true treasure points, said Luo Feng. Still quite a fair distance from a top-tier true treasure. Luo Feng gave a slight shake of his head. Then he started the exchange for true treasure. 1 Flying Palace type ordinary true treasure, the Wood Grain Boat, a true treasure of the ground category, required 23 true treasure points. 1 ordinary territory type true treasure, Numerous Worlds, required 18 true treasure points. 1 senior blade type weapon, Bo He, which was something like the Ghost Blade, required 9 true treasure points. A total of 3 true treasures cost him 50 true treasure points. In Primal Chaos City, at True Yang Knight's residence. Senior is back. Brothers. As Luo Feng walked within the mansion, he met with some fellow brothers who greeted him respectfully, but cautiously. They were cautious for 2 reasons. 1, Luo Feng had not spent much time with them on a long-term basis. 2, as disciples of True Yang Knight, they were all well informed. They knew that quite a fair number of several universe overlords had been annihilated by Luo Feng. Luo Feng simply smiled and returned the greetings in a leisurely manner. When he walked out of sight, the group of brothers immediately began a heated discussion. Brother Luo Feng is simply too powerful. Even universe overlords were annihilated by him. Doesn't that mean he is close to becoming a universe master? He has far surpassed our teacher. I believe the Hong Alliance Palace Master will have a place for Brother Luo Feng in future. Luo Feng could hear all the content of their discussions from afar, but he maintained his inner peace, staying still as undisturbed waters as he walked to where True Yang Knight resided. Teacher, Luo Feng said. He stood outside the door and waited. Come in. The doors opened automatically. True Yang Knight was seated at the far end of the table, which was laid out with a fine spread of food and wine. "TSK, teacher," said Luo Feng. "This is some fine quality wine you have here. You must have spent quite a fortune." Luo Feng reached the table in 2 steps and sat across from True Yang Knight. He reached for a flat vessel containing some wine and took a close look. "Is this the era-aged Zhigui wine? My disciple has gained such great fame among the 100 million races in the universe that there could be no one who has not heard of you," said True Yang Knight. "Everyone sees you as a super being. If you were part of another race, you could lead the entire race with your power. You could go rampant roaming the universe." True Yang Knight caressed his golden beard. With a mildly triumphant tone, he continued, "Even a few universe overlords have been annihilated by my disciple. How is that not worth celebrating? At such a time, would I be so stingy over wine?" Luo Feng blinked and said, "Teacher, if you flatter me too much, I might fly off to Cloud 9. You are already capable of flying." True Yang Knight joked. This brought some warmth to Luo Feng. He felt as though he had gone back in time to the past. True Yang Knight was a very straightforward and candid character, and he would commonly jest with his disciples. He simply had no regard for social status. "Aren't you going to drink?" True Yang Knight filled his own glass. "I am. Of course, I will," Luo Feng replied immediately. "Ha ha. Come, let me fill your glass. I will help myself." Luo Feng and True Yang Knight drank and chatted about the recent happenings in the outside world. While Luo Feng had been spending time on cultivation recently, the outside world had undergone many great changes. "You definitely gave the races of the universe a good scare this time around." True Yang Knight put down his wine glass and sighed. "The rate of your growth was so fast that even I, as your teacher, was pretty shocked, let alone the other races. There is all kinds of news circulating around in the universe, saying that at the rate you are progressing, you'll likely attain Primal Chaos City Leaders level in the future. Spies from other races are all over. We have caught and killed a large number of spies. Some have tried to infiltrate Primal Chaos City, or even reach my very doorstep." True Yang Knight looked towards Luo Feng and continued, "We have killed many of these spies, but the killing is never-ending. It seems like the other races are no longer concerned about the price they have to pay. They would rather sacrifice the many spies they have sent out as they get exposed, and still search frantically for news about you." "Oh." Luo Feng nodded slightly. "All those spies who waited in ambush," said True Yang Knight. "The loss for one is actually quite a sizable amount. Yet now, races are willing to lose them one after the other. I speculate that other races are already aware that you are cultivating in your god country. They are in the midst of locating the whereabouts of your god country. Bug soldiers, the automaton clan, demons. All of them are finding ways to enter the human territory to kill you." True Yang Knight paused, then warned, "If it were not for them, there would be no rush at all. You have to be very careful." "Ha!" Luo Feng laughed. "Teacher, let's not talk about this. I am well prepared for it. My purpose in coming here to see teacher today is for some other matter." With a wave of Luo Feng's hand, 3 true treasures instantly appeared and hung suspended in midair. They were an earth-yellow wooden boat, a crystal ball, and a piece of black armor. The wooden boat was a flying palace-type true treasure. The crystal ball was a domain-type true treasure named Numerous Worlds. And the piece of black armor was a senior true treasure armor. With these 3 true treasures, True Yang Knight's survival ability would reach a new high. The only pity was that a soul-type ordinary true treasure would require at least 36 true treasure points. Luo Feng could not afford that amount. This is..." True Yang Knight got to his feet and looked at the 3 true treasures, stupefied. "Teacher, I am going to leave the human territory on an adventure," Luo Feng said reverentially. "If everything happens as I anticipate it will, some major bloodshed will likely take place. You are my teacher, so I am afraid trouble may find its way to you. These 3 true treasures may be helpful to you, so it is my hope that you will accept them." Luo Feng was worried that True Yang Knight might not accept the treasures because they were too valuable, so he did not reveal the actual value of these 3 true treasures. "You want to leave the human territory?" True Yang Knight was taken aback. Luo Feng nodded. Yes. He had to go claim Star Tower and obtain the 5th black metal board. Of course, he had to go. But you are aware that the Automaton clan, bug soldiers, and demons alike. They are all looking to eliminating you, said True Yang Knight. Even if you are in the human territory, there are chances of assassination attempts. Yet you want to head out. Once you are out there are no human great beings who can give you timely protection. You will be exposed to danger. True Yang Knight started to panic at the thought. Yes, I am aware of that, said Luo Feng. This time, when I head out, there is bound to be a bloodbath. Luo Feng smiled. But please rest assured, teacher. He bowed slightly. I shall take my leave now. Turning around, Luo Feng took a step and vanished. True Yang Knight looked to where Luo Feng had vanished. He kept silent for a long time. He understood. Luo Feng had reached an even higher level. 3 true treasures. A universe overlord. 3 true treasures are all that he got. True Yang Knight thought these were ordinary true treasures, so with an extended finger, he shot out threads of godly power, and speedily penetrated the 3 true treasures. That very moment, a surge of information was transmitted. Flying Palace type, Domain type, Senior True Treasure Armor. This information had True Yang Knight rooted on the spot for a long while. He did not tell me, he whispered. He left immediately because he was worried I might accept these if I knew. This disciple of mine. Inside the Palace of Primal Chaos Ruins. Luo Feng went to visit Primal Chaos City Leader after leaving the Palace of True Yang Knight. He was not content with trading his disambiguation mirror stone for half the ownership of Earth. However, he knew that Primal Chaos City Leader was only one of the dozens of universe masters in the human race. Though he was powerful, he wasn't at huge axe creator's level. Besides, Primal Chaos City Leader had been guiding him patiently, and Luo Feng admired the character of his teacher. True Yang Knight and Primal Chaos City Leader had completely different personalities. True Yang Knight was frank and forthright, and he would do anything for those he cared about. When Luo Feng was chased by Bark Mirror Emperor, True Yang Knight went to fight him even though he wasn't sure whether he was going to win or not. As for Primal Chaos City Leader, he was responsible for the entire human race, and many important issues concerning the human race were determined by him. The rise and fall of the humans were all under his consideration. He had always been fair, and his principle was to put the race first when he was treating his disciples, which made Luo Feng respect him. Teacher. Luo Feng gave a salutation. Garnet armor with complex patterns and a scaled tail spread out from a set of battle gear. Under several fiery horns was a fierce face with engravings on it. It was another body of Primal Chaos City Leader. The eyes were broad like the sky and intimidating. Why are you here to see me? Asked Primal Chaos City Leader. I plan to leave the human territory, and I wanted to tell you before I left, answered Luo Feng. Oh. It seems that you went to visit True Yang about this, too. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. He was the guard of the Primal Universe, which meant he knew everything going on in the Primal Universe. However, he hadn't eavesdropped on the conversation between Luo Feng and True Yang Knight. Do you know how dangerous it is for you on the outside? Asked Primal Chaos City Leader. I do. Luo Feng nodded. The bug race, the demon race, and the automaton race all want me dead. But you're still going out. Primal Chaos City Leader continued. Luo Feng nodded. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. Then go. You're not weak in any aspect, which means you should be the one who makes all your own decisions. But remember, you're not only representing yourself. You're still representing your family and your earthling bloodline. Just remember this. Yes. Luo Feng nodded and bowed. Then I'll leave now. Go, Primal Chaos City Leader said, then added, if you can't handle the danger by yourself, crush the keepsake I left you. Luo Feng nodded, and with the space ripple, he disappeared. Primal Chaos City Leader was left alone in Primal Chaos Ruins. This disciple of mine manifests such power after hiding for almost 20,000 years, Primal Chaos City Leader thought. And now, he's leaving the human territory. He must have some peculiar experiences, and they happened at some place in the universe. Primal Chaos City leader had figured this out a long time ago, but he wouldn't try to influence Luo Feng. From his perspective, if Luo Feng had remote ocean body, then even he was killed outside, he could easily resurrect himself. The true treasures would be the only things lost. Bug race, demon race, automaton race? Thought Primal Chaos City leader. They would be desperate if they knew Luo Feng has a remote ocean body. All they can get is the true treasures he carries. Primal Chaos City leader was confident. Although he was more proficient in close combat, he was also a master in souls, and in the primal universe, which was under his control, he could tell that Luo Feng's mind and willpower were already at the universe master level. Godly power determined minds. Minds affected willpower as well. After 180 million years of training and becoming a universe knight, Luo Feng's mind and willpower had already reached the universe master level. However, Primal Chaos City leader was wrong about one thing. If those other races killed Luo Feng's body, they would get exceptional true treasures, Force Armor, Shawu Wings, and Beast God Armor. After leaving Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng first went back to his god country. Then he went to Star Tower by god country transportation. In the center palace of the Star Tower, the light started to dim. Luo Feng walked out. Star Tower, Luo Feng said as he looked around the palace where he received life or death inheritance. My godly power should be enough to drive Star Tower. The godly power on Luo Feng started to burn and spread along the ground. It went into the center of Star Tower like electricity, transferred to the pillars and seal stars. The burning godly power flowed like water in the river, channeled through the pillars and seal stars. However, those engravings were too difficult. Luo Feng was only able to understand the easiest ones. After only a short while, the burning godly power merged with every inch of Star Tower. Rise! Luo Feng growled. Star Tower rose 8 inches and fell 8 inches slowly. Such a tiny ripple was imperceptible. Luo Feng took back his godly power, and the golden horned beast in the world ring started to transfer the godly power to his original earthling body. My original earthling body is also a universe knight with a life gene level of 9,800 times, and it's strong enough to drive Star Tower. However, the godly power consumed is too much. If it weren't for the golden horned beast, that move would have consumed 30% of my godly body. My understanding of the engravings in Star Tower is too limited. He was able to drive it with his godly power if he wanted, but it consumed too much power. If he were able to fully comprehend the engravings, it would be much easier. Luo Feng left the center palace and started to wander through Star Tower. He went to various locations via the internal transportation. He couldn't even see the end of the heavenly pillars. Luo Feng perused the engravings on the heavenly pillars and couldn't help exclaiming, "Incredible! Even the simplest engravings are so amazing." The engravings in Star Tower are even more complex and complete than those of the miniature universe. No wonder it's a supreme true treasure. He walked around and saw the heavenly pillars and seal stars. He even went to tour the spaces in Star Tower where lots of other races were adventuring and fighting. Luo Feng was able to see the mysteries formed by those spaces. After 32 days of walking through Star Tower, Luo Feng went back to the center palace and sat down with his legs crossed. His consciousness was fully integrated with Star Tower, and all the engraving sculptures flooded his mind. He started to study them carefully. The deeper he understood those engravings, the more power he could wield. Mysterious. Complicated. Space, time, gold, wood, water, fire, ground, wind, lightning, and light. All lore threads were mixed together perfectly, and they were 10,000 times more complicated than the miniature universe engraving picture. After all, the miniature universe only had a diameter of 6 billion miles while Star Tower was 9 light-years tall. If the miniature universe was a small room, the Star Tower was a skyscraper comprised of countless small rooms. Fortunately, I'm on the engraving picture path, thought Luo Feng. Otherwise, it would take me forever to reach full comprehension if I only know of space lore and gold lore. He sat with his legs crossed for 3 years before he opened his eyes. Finally, he said, "I've finished understanding the first level of mysteries." However, after understanding the first level, Luo Feng better grasped how incredible Star Tower truly was. I'm only able to fully comprehend the first level. He looked up at the center palace. It should be easier to drive now. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, and his godly power started to burn. Endless godly power immediately infused Star Tower, and the easiest engravings at the periphery were completely driven. Luo Feng felt much more comfortable. I need to drive those warriors out before taking it back, he thought. Beings of different races were being driven out through the portals at the bottom, and millions of beings showed up outside Star Tower. They were all in shock. What happened? I was adventuring there, but I was driven out. Me too. Why did Star Tower drive us out? All the other races were astounded. This had never happened in all the time since Star Tower showed up in the outer domain battlefield. All of them had been driven out today? It was bizarre. Look. The 9 whirlpool nebulas disappeared. They disappeared. All the undying fighters were shocked to their very core. Look. Star Tower is shrinking. It's shrinking. Star Tower, which was 9 light-years tall, was quickly contracting. After only a short while, it became half a mile tall, and then, it disappeared completely. Star Tower disappeared. How is that possible? Everyone was terrified. The news spread like wildfire. No one exaggerated anything this time, but the news that Star Tower had disappeared was thousands of times more shocking than Luo Feng killing a universe overlord. A supreme true treasure craved by billions of races in the universe had just vanished. This video will end here.